All right, here we go. It is a long Wednesday. I think we're on about 15 hours now. Day one of camp for the Cincinnati Bearcats was this morning at the practice facility at UC, and we got a lot to talk about. But first, this show, as always, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15%. Remember, Wednesday through Sunday. Now, regular hours, Wednesday through Sunday, closed Monday and Tuesday for all of you diehard Galactic Fried Chicken fans. And I'm sure it's going to be one of those things, Aaron. People are going to crave Galactic Fried Chicken on Monday and Tuesday. That place is going to be slammed on Wednesdays. It's like it's the
when you can't have it, that's when you want it, right?
Right. You can't. It's in the small business world, in the local restaurant world, everybody closes on Monday now, right? Because Monday is kind of that day everybody spends with family. Everybody's out and about. Saturday and Sunday closed on Monday. Every Monday, I want something from a place that's closed.
So, I told you a couple months ago, or maybe not a couple months ago. Maybe
I was like probably 4 days ago,
6 weeks ago, I think, something like that. 4 6 weeks ago. I don't. My life's been a blur since I had this baby. But
yeah, congrats.
Thank you. But I gave my family all bottles of Galactic. My sister, who I'm staying with right now in Indianapolis, on a little vacation here. She's let all her friends out here in Indianapolis try it, and they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah, that's some good shit.
They're fascinated by it. So apparently, she's building a little. She's like, "I might need you to pick up like 12 bottles."
Shane, you might have to get with Aaron because there might be a mega order of Galactic sauce coming in.
There might be a franchise opportunity in India. God. So just kind of fun that spreading the wealth around, and
yeah, it's great.
It's cool to see.
Day one of camp today. The practice report is up.
Let's start about day one before you get into any of the play on the field.
Okay, the practice report is up. It's on BearcatJournal.com. If you're not a member, go there. That'll get you all the details, all the ins and outs from what I saw at practice today. We'll touch on a little bit of it here, but for the most part, as we go through this journey of the next 2.5+ weeks of camp, we're going to try to keep the practice reports separate. That is premium information for Bearcat Journal subscribers. We'll touch on some things are going to be inevitable. We're going to have to, but we're going to try to take this a little bit of a different path so that we're not talking about the same stuff on all the shows. That's one of the key things for me as we've developed all these different shows and different platforms and everything that we're doing. Let's have some different conversations. So that's what we're going to try to do here.
So I want to ask about the it's just strange to me. We're opening up camp, and we're on campus today, and then they travel to higher ground tomorrow, and then they're at higher ground for roughly the next 2.5 weeks?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. Why are they doing practice on campus today, and not going just straight to camp and having that off day travel day when you could have?
Because they want to?
Doesn't seem odd to you?
No. We've generally, most of the time, we've opened up with at least 1 or 2 practices on campus before they head out there. So I think the main reason for that is, and I have to look into the rules. I think they're changing a little bit, but it used to be you had to have 4 practices before the pads could go on. Okay. So the first couple practices are kind of, I don't want to say throwaway, but like not really camp.
They're walkthroughs.
Yeah, like today they had spider pads on, which are just like the little like chest protector,
not full pads.
Right. Not full pads. Generally, they have the spider pads on, and then they have the shoulder pads on. My nose itches like crazy. I feel like I got a. Am I all right? I got a boogie up there somewhere.
Sure you
um, so I think that is part of it. Is like a lot of it is just biding your time until you get to that like fifth practice. So they don't mind having them stay on campus for a day or two. That way, guys, look, man, this is easy for us to wonder about because we're not the ones that are
Correct.
sleeping in essentially barracks for 2.5 weeks.
Absolutely. You're right.
These are high level athletes that are sleeping in like bunk beds and like, remember, here's the other thing I think that's important for this conversation. Back in the day, they all stayed in dorms that were pretty similar to the living quarters at higher ground.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. They are staying in luxury apartments with their own bedroom, like their own bathroom. Like these dudes are living okay. So if you can get them an extra night or two, they reported yesterday, stayed at their own place last night, had practice today. They get to stay in their own place tonight. It's kind of that last night on campus, and then head out tomorrow to higher ground. Right. You have a day to kind of get accustomed to higher ground. I think it just works best from you only have so many days you can practice, right? You only have so many days that you're allowed to be on the field between the start of camp and the opening game, the first game. Luke talked about it a little bit in the video today that's posted on this YouTube page. Like they had a couple extra days, so they decided to just go ahead, start this way, give the guys a couple extra days in their own bed, and then get out to higher ground and get down to business tomorrow.
The biggest argument I would make against this is that you only have so many days a year that you can enjoy the food at Camp Higher Ground. And if you're taking away a full day of food from maybe a day and a half of food from Camp Higher Ground rather than just have already been there and do your walkthrough there and then have an off day.
So they get food catered every day on campus.
Sure, I get that, but it's not Camp Higher Ground food.
How do you know? Have you had it?
I mean, I sincerely doubt they're catering food all the way from Higher Ground.
No, they're catering food from caterers that come in and cook for the team.
Well, let's, for argument's sake, say it's not Camp Higher Ground food.
It might not be, but you're gonna get 20 days, 17 days of Camp Higher Ground food.
I'm just making an argument.
I know. You're making a bad argument, but I'm saying.
Agree to disagree. Give me those chicken Sammies every day.
Oh, look, the Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich. I'm hoping that's on the menu Friday. I'll just tell you that right now. And the funny thing was today, because one, I wasn't driving from home from West Harrison, Indiana, and two, I didn't stick around for 45 minutes to have lunch. Like I got home like an hour earlier than I normally do from camp. And of course, what did I get from my 12-year-old daughter? Why are you home so early? Don't worry about it. It's none of your business.
Doing adult things? That's how.
They didn't feed me today at UC, so I'm home early.
Go play Fortnite.
Yeah, damn kids.
The other thing I want to ask you about is I saw that Josh Whyle was interviewed, and he was asked about his new leadership role as Desmond Ritter is gone, Sauce is gone. The list can kind of go on and on from there. And he made mention about how he's accepted and stepped into that role, especially with them being gone. And I don't know, did you take that as like him seizing the opportunity or something that he had been idly waiting on for the opportunity to present itself? Or like, how did you perceive that answer?
I think it was just it's a natural progression. He had a lot of team leadership responsibilities last year,
and that's what I thought I saw as well.
Yeah, this was not new to him. Obviously, it's different though because ultimately Dez was sitting in the top chair last year.
Well, and Dez was a no nonsense type of guy, whereas Wiley likes to have fun.
Josh is a no nonsense type of guy, though. But he like when it gets down to it, he's very serious and focused. He's also kind of crazy, like in terms of who he is in the locker room, and like you
Right.
saw him at Squat Fest with the
Yeah.
two-tone
Mask.
mask on, and but when it comes down, Josh wants to win. Like, so I don't think this is a situation that's too big for him. I do think like he is going to embrace and push forward in that role, but I don't think it's a role that's entirely new to him, because I think he has had a emotional leadership position on this roster prior to this year. Like if you were around last year,
Yeah.
Josh was in that workout group with Dez and
Right.
B. Cook, and he's been in the inner circle of leadership for a while. Now he's just going from lieutenant to captain, if you will.
So to compound on that, he also mentioned that he's going to be staying with Lenny again.
Always.
Do you think that that's a wasted opportunity for those two guys to be staying together rather than to have them paired up with some of the
No,
other guys?
I think that's looking deeper into it than what's really there. I think those two guys have just stayed together like every year at Higher Ground. I think if they were like, if they're only rooming with each other, which I don't think is the case. Josh has roomed with a bunch of different guys, I think, in his stay here. I don't think it really matters. I think it's just like those two have kind of a routine, a vibe out at Higher Ground, where they room together early in their careers, or probably bunked together in the bunk rooms early in their careers, and then as they got older, they just were roommates. And I was on the we did a Twitch stream today, playing Fall Guys that had pretty good little crowd, and Josh said that Lenny sleeps like a cow, snores like a cow, and I was like, do we know if cows snore? Like, Josh is from the West Side. Like, I don't think he's had a whole lot of experience with cows.
Yeah, there's not a ton of cows out there until you go like far
Right,
west,
you got
like Cleves.
Yeah. West Harrison.
on the way to West Harrison, for sure.
And somebody was like, yeah, cows snore like cows got that snore on. So yeah, apparently cows do snore, and Lenny snores like the cows.
Anything else you want to talk about? I know you talked a little bit about some of the new guys coming in with Dave tonight on the show. Just wanting to know, you made mention that some guys had some plays like Oliver Bridges, like
Quincy Burroughs, Ken Willis, Kalen Carroll, CJ Doggett had an impressive play from defensive tackle. It's always hard to remember, and it shouldn't be, because we keep seeing the best recruiting class in school history enter
every
the program.
Year. Right.
And the best recruiting class in school history enter the program. Last year it was Shimama Taylor and Rob Jackson and Jack Dingle, not Jacob, Jack. This year it's a lot of the skill guys. And I do think, I thought Ethan Green got some run at third team left tackle today.
Okay.
Which one of the guys is,
and he wasn't one of the guys that was there in the spring.
Right. For a freshman, like just showing up, getting third team reps, that left tackle, pretty good for Ethan Green. We have to remember, and we're going to do this again, the night that camp opens next year, when Kamari Anderson and Jackson McGowan and all these guys show up on campus. I don't mean to just single those two out, but like those are the first names that popped in my mind. We're going to do this again next year, where we get our first look, or for the guys that enroll early. I think it's maybe even more important for the guys that enroll early, because we saw them right when they were babies, right when they arrived bear kittens, or what's Brady call them?
Joe-eyed.
Yeah, what's Brady call them? Bear kittens, or I
don't
can't remember what the exact word is.
It might be bear kittens.
But now they've had 6, 7, 8 months in the weight room, and they've gone through 15 practices, and they've
25 pounds later for
25 pounds later in Squat Fest and a winter and a summer conditioning cycle. And like all of a sudden you see some of these kids for the second time and you're like, ooh. I talked about with Dave tonight, like they had JQ in like a bump and run situation. And I think it was 7-on-7. It might have been team, but I think it was 7-on-7. But he just took that receiver and was like,
do you recall which receiver it was?
I don't. Because I was joking around with the person standing next to me on whether or not it was a foul. Whether or not it was a flag.
Yeah, what Justin said.
No, it wasn't Justin, actually. I was standing next to somebody else. No.
Okay.
And they were like, that's a penalty. And I was like, yeah, it is a penalty. But I love seeing JQ at the line of scrimmage in single press man, bump and run coverage, just bullying or trying to, even if it didn't work, just engaging and trying
making
to
his presence known.
Yeah. Like I was like, that's what I want to see from him. Like the other stuff will come, but if he's willing to do stuff like that, where he's just going to engage and lock up and like ride the guy 5-7 yards downfield. Yeah, maybe he was 2 yards past the window when he disengaged, but he wasn't afraid. And I think that's what you worry about with a lot of freshmen is it going to take them a while to gain the confidence?
Sure.
Or are they just going to step up and go, let's get this, let's go. And he was ready to go. I loved it.
Well, for a day of walkthroughs on campus, plenty of storylines.
You worry about so much weird shit.
Absolutely. But plenty of storylines. So I think there will be plenty more storylines once camp officially opens up at Higher Ground.
Yeah.
But absolutely a breath of fresh air, if you will.
We're talking football, and like we're not talking about what might be football. We're talking about I watched some football today, Aaron.
Everyone's here, everyone's practicing, and you got to watch all of
Eric Phillips didn't feel well. He got a little sick yesterday, and really that was the only guy I didn't see out there fully participating. So that's a pretty good start.
This season should be one hell of a ride, and I can't wait.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in to all the content today, because it has been a busy ass day of content today. Nick's got a story up. I've got a story up. We've got a podcast. We got a nightcap. We got videos. Like we got all kinds of shit.
You're welcome.
I appreciate all of you being here and consuming as much of it as your schedule will allow. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. He's Aaron Smith. I'm Chad Brendel. It's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!